Hey YouTube, this is Cody the Duke. Hope everyone's doing good. I'm doing something a little bit different today in comparing what most people will call a pocket pistol, a micro compact, a subcompact, a compact, a duty carry, a duty, or whatever, carry, uh, full size, competition style. And every company or manufacturer has their own kind of categorization system. So for some companies might be called compact when they're actually the same size as their duty, or some might be a micro when at another company they would be considered a subcompact. So it is a little weird. That's why I tried to grab some from a few different makers, and we can go through just a few of the variations. So I guess we'll start at the top. Let me put all of them back in place. As you can see, they've all been safety checked. The only one that doesn't have a hold open is the Ruger LCP380. So I'll just quickly show that has been safety checked here. And we're clear on everything. So, all right, let's get to it. Let me slide everything forward so you can see more easily. All right, so we're back and everything is still safety checked, but in a way we can compare them in size. So let's start at the top with the two that likely would not be carried. I mean, I know some people do carry a 1911 or a Glock 17, but on the larger side, I would say comfortably, for me at least, carrying a Glock 19, and in this example, we're using a Ruger Security 9, which in all specs is exactly the same. So we'll be able to see the size comparison drop down to kind of the next level with the same capacity. So I'm not going to get too much into capacity today, mostly just focus on size and the difference between your pocket pistol and maybe your bedside carry and what you might carry in the bedside gun compared to what you might carry in the winter versus the summer, or depending on what you're wearing. So let's get into it first with the 1911 versus the Glock 17. So I'm just going to flip them around so we can see the size comparison. All right, so the 1911 typically is almost always going to have a 5-inch barrel, and the Glock has a 4.49, Glock 17 4.49 inch barrel. Obviously, 1911s are hammer fired, single action only. And this Sig will not fire unless the magazine is in, but the Glock will fire without the mag in. Not that that matters, I won't cover that really. Okay, so overall barrel length on a 1911, which you can see is 8.7 inches. Height is 5.5, so the height on these are roughly the same. We can see that here. As you can see, they almost line up perfectly on top of each other. So exact same height, but the length you can see is different, and you get that extra ½ inch of barrel from the striker being back, as if we compare them where you would hold or the grip, you can see that length come into play. So an extra ½ inch on the barrel extra barrel length does increase your accuracy and a lot of different things, but that's another story. So, all right. The big thing on these two is weight. Typical 1911 is going to weigh, around 43 ounces unloaded, compared to a Glock weighing 24.87 or 25 ounces unloaded. And the width is fairly similar. The Glock is actually a little bit wider but not by much, 1.3 inches. So, and I guess that is, these both would be, this might be considered a duty carry firearm by, by a police officer or something like that. But all right, so let's jump back here and compare the next two, the Glock versus the next size, which would be what most people would carry. And I'm going to put the empty magazines in. Here is our Glock 17 magazine, just so you can see, and so we can get a true indication of size and height. So we already mentioned this is 4.5 inch barrel, and it is 8.03 inches long compared to the 8.7 for the 1911. The Ruger 9 or Glock 19 is 7.25 inches long and is roughly a half inch shorter in width. And it has a half inch smaller barrel. So you're looking at a 4.5 inch barrel versus a 4-inch barrel. And the weight is not that much different, looking at 24.87 ounces or 25 ounces compared to 23.7 or 23.5. So a couple ounce difference unloaded. Obviously, the capacity is 2 rounds higher with the 17 versus the Ruger Security 9 or Glock 19, so those 2 extra rounds will add a little extra weight. All right, both of these will fire without the magazine, and this is the one thing that's different, obviously, between the Glock and the Ruger Security 9 is the Ruger Security 9 is striker fired. So it is single action compared to, it has an internal hammer, which you can watch my video on the Ruger Security 9. But anyways, all right, so that gets into our duty carry versus our larger sized, maybe winter carry firearm. Next, let's get into what would be, I guess, subcompact or micro, depending on how you look at it. So for the Mossberg MC2SC, have 2 magazines, the 10 and 14 rounder. So for this case, I'll use what I would normally carry, I guess, in the 14 rounder, and then compare it to the 8-round Shield, Smith & Wesson Shield. So, all right, big thing on these, well, and first let's compare the Mossberg versus the Ruger 9. So, with this, we already mentioned 4-inch barrel, 7.24 length, 5-inch height, and 24 ounces, compared to the Mossberg 19.5 ounces, 1.1 inch width, and 3.4 inch barrel. So 3.4 inch barrel compared to a 4-inch barrel, which is not that bad considering the size. This has 14, and I just showed an 11 round and 14 rounder compared to a 15 rounder. So size-wise, this is 6.25 in length and 4.3 in height, I guess, depending on the magazine you have in. And Mossberg considers this a micro compact. So in comparing the two in size, I guess it's hard to tell here with you can see that the shorter, basically they are the same except for the barrel being a half an inch shorter. So again, we're dropping down a level. Now, if we remove the magazine and put the 11 in, then there's going to be a noticeable difference if you do have to carry in less clothes, obviously you can see the height difference there, but you're dropping from 15 to 11 rounds. So, all right, now I guess let's compare the Mossberg at 3.4-inch barrel to the Shield. Now this one is with the shorter flush mag at 11+1. This is the original Shield, so this is 8+1. So barrel on this, although the length is 6.1 compared to 6.25. So we can see they are, I mean, it is just a little bit shorter lengthwise, but the barrel is 3.1 here compared to 3.4. So every bit of length that you're giving up, somehow the Mossberg is only 0.15 inches longer in length, but 0.3 inches longer in the barrel. So I consider that a big win for the Mossberg. And obviously I wish I had the Shield Plus to compare it to, because that would be a much more debatable comparison, obviously, as this is the Shield original that we're showing. So the one big thing on the Shield original is the width. You can see how slim that is. That is a 1 inch, 1.01 inch wide, compared to the Mossberg is 1.1 inch wide. So that's a noticeable difference. Which I actually don't mind. I like a little extra width in terms of 1.1 versus 1.10. So, all right. Weight on this is actually lighter. I mentioned this is 19.5. It's a little heavier. We're at 20.8. They're both steel barreled and steel slide. So, not sure where the weight is coming from, but anyways, that's unloaded. It may have to do with the fact that the magazine, I mean, they're both like I don't know, polymer. That one is not polymer, so maybe that's what's adding the weight, but these don't. The Mossberg actually feels heavier. Anyways, all right. So let's put these back in order in our Mossberg and Shield back in line, and compare it to what Sig Sauer calls their micro compact. And these are three of my more EDC guns. But all right, the P938 is 7+1. The barrel is 3 inches compared to the Shield is 8+1. Barrel is 3.1 inches. Weight on this is only 16 ounces compared to 21 ounces. So big difference there. And you can see, despite it being only a barrel of 0.1 different, the weight is significantly lower. Width is a little bit wider on the P938. It's 1.1 like the Mossberg, but overall length and height are lower here. Length is 5.9 compared to 6.1. Now when we compare it to the Mossberg, obviously this is 3.4 inch barrel compared to a 3 inch barrel, and the length is 6.25 compared to 5.9. So, all right, lastly, let's compare the 380, which is, instead of 7+1, 6+1, and instead of being in 9mm like here, this is in 380, which 380, that's a different comparison, but still can pack a punch. Obviously noticeably smaller, different size gun there, but even the size of the Sig dwarfs the pocket pistol or true pocket pistol. So the Ruger is only 9.6 ounces compared to 16 ounces, which is very light. It is a 0.8 inch width, so very slim. 2.75 inch barrel, so actually not bad for such a small gun. This barrel, despite the length being 5.16 compared to 5.9, you're only losing 0.25 inches in barrel length, which is pretty good. This will not fire without a magazine in, and as I mentioned, it does not have a slide stop, so